Are there common pitfalls or mistakes that parents need to be aware of when they're creating and following a parenting plan so that they can avoid those pitfalls and mistakes?
Yes. What I see consistently is people will talk about other issues. They'll talk about other issues in custody and visitation. They may not be happy with the plan. The parents may disagree. One parent may want to go out of town with the kids, and the other parent does not. And they get stuck in this battle about whatever these issues are. So
Hmm.
it's some give and take, and you can't just take, and one parent shouldn't just give. So, having a way of dealing with these issues, being kind hearted to the other parent, and
Hmm.
understanding that they're going through a difficult time too, is really important.
Welcome to the 805 Law Group Podcast, your source for an entertaining blend of law and legal community updates. Each week, you'll get crucial insights into family law, personal injury, criminal defense, and estate planning, along with the latest insider information about what's happening in the local legal community and high-profile cases right here on the Central Coast. Now let's get started with your host, the founder of 805 Law Group, attorney Bill Osman. Welcome to the 805 Law Group Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Dean Mignola.
And I'm attorney Bill Osman.
Now, today we're going to cover co-parenting success secrets, understanding the power of co-parenting and parenting plans. So, Bill, what exactly is a co-parenting plan and why is it so important?
Well, a good co parenting relationship starts with a great plan, a plan that really lays out what's going to be done with the children, decision making, who's going to do that. And then, very importantly, is hey, when are the children going to be exchanged? Which holidays go with which children? Which parent receives? Which parent picks up? There is a really good way of putting things together that makes sense. It really helps support the children as they transition from one household to two households. So, this co parenting plan is really important. And then not only do you have the custody and visitation orders that are really specific and gives a great flow for both parents and the kids, but also it requires great communication. And we have some great apps. There's Talking Parents, there's our Family Wizard, and simply you can just text or make phone calls. But it really requires to reestablish a great working relationship with the other parent, even though that relationship's dissolved and causing the need to have co-parenting.
Okay. Well, how can parents navigate potential power struggles, for example, in co-parenting situations? And what strategies can be employed to maintain a more happy, healthy balance with the children?
Well, first of all, it requires really good communication, a really good plan, a really good communication, and then it requires a good attitude. Like our Family Wizard, you can buy an additional app on there which will check for tone. What you don't want to do is to start blaming, start putting in other information when you're communicating about the children. So the more you can keep this professional, keep it pleasant, keep it polite, the better chance that you're going to have a successful co-parenting relationship. So once you have that plan, and then parents can work on their attitude, keeping it succinct. Don't talk about other issues. Just talk about picking up the kids. If the kid has a cold, make sure and communicate that information.
Mhm.
If they've seen a doctor and they're prescribed a certain regimen, make sure you give that information in a positive, polite, and kind way.
Okay. So, what are the different elements that you need to make sure that are included in a real comprehensive parenting plan? So we're addressing the practical, but also the emotional aspects of co parenting.
Well, having a good parenting plan, like I said, is very important. What I always try to do is have the receiving parent to pick up. So if one parent is late for any reason, the children aren't inconvenienced and the parent isn't inconvenienced as much. Quite often, we'll have information in there like a curbside pickup. As long as the children are not too small and aren't disabled, hey, you don't have to speak to the other parent. You can let them come out to the other parent's car, get loaded in, and take off. So those are kind of important things. Additionally, having a method of communication where you keep the communication brief and positive and focus on making sure that handoffs, drop-offs, and parenting issues get dealt with effectively and efficiently is really important to having a very successful co-parenting relationship.
Okay. Are you enjoying the 805 Law Group podcast so far? Make sure you never miss an episode by hitting that subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. For more information about 805 Law Group, visit our website, 805lawgroup.com. Now, let's get back to the show. Are there common pitfalls or mistakes that parents need to be aware of when they're creating and following a parenting plan, so that they can avoid those pitfalls and mistakes?
Yes. What I see consistently is people will talk about other issues. They'll talk about other issues in custody and visitation. They may not be happy with the plan. The parents may disagree. One parent may want to go out of town with the kids, and the other parent does not. And they get stuck in this battle about whatever these issues are. So it's some give and take, and you can't just take, and one parent shouldn't just give. So having a way of dealing with these issues, being kind-hearted to the other parent and understanding that they're going through a difficult time too, is really important. Communicating effectively, having a great parenting plan, and having a great attitude and a forgiving heart are some of the things that really help in having effective co-parent relationship.
Okay. What role does consistency play in the co-parenting process? And I guess we could look at that in two different ways: consistency between the parents and just consistency with the parents being consistent, right? How can we parents maintain a consistent approach that could be helpful for both households, especially?
Yeah, having consistent routines is really helpful. Having school at a certain time, having vacations set well in advance, having routine is really important for the parents as well as the children. And consistently showing up. If the drop off time is 6 p.m. on Friday, show up at 6 o'clock. Don't show up at 6:30. Don't blow it off and forget about it. Having consistency really helps. Having another parent
Hmm.
in this co-parenting relationship that the other person can rely on is really going to be helpful. If you do have a change of
Hmm.
plans, communicate that well in advance. That's really going to go a long way, making sure that your children are well cared for, that you have a solid co-parenting plan, it's being well executed, and you're strengthening that co-parent relationship.
Okay. Obviously, you have a lot of experience in this area. Can you share some examples of where you've seen successful co-parenting situations and the strategies and principles that really created a really good outcome?
Yes, Dean, I've seen a lot of different successful co parenting plans. I think one of the elements that's really important in a co parenting plan is that the parents really love and care about their children. And when they do, they can work through the difficulty and come up with good plans. I've seen parents that disagree on everything, they've turned that around, and become strong co-parents. So a willingness to work at learning a system, a willingness to do better, a willingness to put themselves second and their children first. So when parents have that, we have lots of tools in our toolbox. We've gone to court. We've got co-parent counseling. We've had co-parenting workshops. We've helped people come alongside them and help them develop these skills that they've never had before. So
Hmm.
there's some great classes that people can take on co-parenting. There's lots of resources that are available, but being flexible, being willingness to learn, and a willingness to change things are one of the key elements that really help parents develop a great co-parenting plan and a great co-parenting relationship.
Excellent, Bill. Well, great. Thank you. And that's going to wrap up this episode of the 805 Law Group podcast. If you enjoyed the content, please click the like button and look for the subscribe and follow buttons. We'd love for you to hit that. And also the notification bell if you'd like to know when we release future podcast episodes. Any final words, Bill?
Yes, Dean, I am really excited about my new book. Our clients are finding this really helpful. It's available on Amazon. You can purchase it there. But if you want to drop us a line or come by the office, I'd love to give you a copy of this book. It's so important that you have an organized system as you approach important issues like co parenting, about custody and visitation. We'd love to help you in any way we possibly can. And giving you a copy of free book is a great way of doing that.
Excellent. It is a really great book. All right. Well, great. Thank you so much. And we'll see you on the next podcast. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of the 805 Law Group Podcast. Don't forget to visit our website, 805lawgroup.com/podcast, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, or Amazon Music, so you never miss an episode. If you found value in the show, we'd love it if you could rate it on iTunes or even tell your friends. Make sure to join attorney Bill Osman next week for another informative and entertaining episode. Remember, at 805 Law Group, we're turning law into empowerment, one episode at a time.